Before we get started, I just want you to know that this is the best theory you'll ever hear. In regards to Boruto's character design when using his karma and Otsutsuki powers, there is a sort of loophole that doesn't quite align with the narrative of karma. Curious about what this theory is? Then keep sorted as we explore it together. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and now let's begin. What is karma? Karma is a sort of genetic code that overrides the DNA of the person involved and transforms him to an Otsutsuki. This is the main reason why the individual in question would start to resemble the Otsutsuki that is associated with the specific karma. We've seen this in Jigen and Kawaki as they are seen to possess the same horn that Isshiki possesses. Following this, Boruto is supposed to have the same horn as that of Momoshiki. However, this isn't the case as Boruto's horn resembles only one person's, and it's that of Shibai. Also, the Jogan that Boruto possesses is only associated with the Otsutsuki gods. And so far, we are only aware of one Otsutsuki god, which is Shibai. I'm sure we can clearly see the clues that were left behind by Kishimoto-san. It's definite that there's a sort of connection between Boruto and Shibai Otsutsuki. For some particular reason, Boruto developed the genetic code of Momoshiki and Shibai. Even way before Momoshiki planted his karma on Boruto, he has had Shibai's DNA. I'm sure Momoshiki saw this, and this is why he decided to inhabit him. It was only activated after Boruto started transforming to an Otsutsuki thanks to Momoshiki. This is exactly like Kawaki, who had the genetics of Isshiki but could not access it without help from the artificial karma. For Boruto, he couldn't activate Shibai's genetics without help from Momoshiki's karma. This genetics of Shibai is what made Boruto to have the Jogan, which is a jutsu one gets after consuming numerous planets after thousands of years. When the concept of Otsutsuki gods was introduced to us, we saw one of the Otsutsuki gods using a dojutsu that closely resembles the Jogan. This particular Otsutsuki god had so many Jogans surrounding him that I believe this power isn't an ordinary power. It's seen as an essential part of the realms of gods. It's not just a power that is obtained in the higher dimension where Shibai Otsutsuki ascended to. This tells us that this Jogan power isn't something that belongs to the planes of humans, and for some mysterious reason, Boruto has manifested that eye. This dojutsu is clearly a trait of the gods, specifically Otsutsukis who for thousands of years have consumed the chakra of thousands of different planets. This leaves us with the question, how can a normal human being who hasn't even become an Otsutsuki possess such an eye? We just have to assume that Boruto is linked to the source of this power. What then is this source? It's only plausible to say that this source exists on planet Earth. The chain of events that have spanned thousands of years links us to the fact that Shibai Otsutsuki ascended to godhood from Earth, and during this process, he received the Jogan. How is Boruto connected to Shibai Otsutsuki? It's most likely that he has been connected from birth, and this is through the genetic makeup of his parents. This is most likely what granted him the essence of the Jogan just before Shibai's ascension. We all know that the manga did not showcase the Jogan or validate the blackish blue design that the anime has. But before Momoshiki died, he tells Boruto why he placed the karma seal on him. The emphasis was on Boruto's Jogan, and in those instances, the eye was highlighted with Momoshiki attention centered on the blue eye. He also explicitly commented on his blue eyes. This scene was shown in the manga, but the Jogan wasn't illustrated like it was in the anime. Momoshiki, however, perceived Boruto's blue eye and tells him that it is remarkably unique, making it a direct link to the fact that the Jogan actually existed and also emphasizing on Boruto's ownership. Because what else would Momoshiki be referring to as the blue eyes if not the Jogan that is shown in the anime? Boruto's normal blue eyes were gotten from his father Naruto, and Momoshiki did not find Naruto's eye unique and fascinating. Sarada also mentions that Boruto's blue eyes are a deeper shade than that of Naruto's. This served as a symbolic foreshadowing, which also alluded to the fact that the eyes Momoshiki was referring to weren't the same blue eyes Naruto had. Momoshiki most likely perceived the Jogan with his unique Byakugan eyes. His eyes also allows him to see the destiny of all beings. He also mentioned to Boruto that Boruto wouldn't have been able to see him if not that Otsutsuki blood run in his veins. So, Boruto for some reason possessed the power that the Otsutsuki seeks even before knowing anything about them. This insight comes from Isshiki when he conveys the will of the Otsutsuki to Code. We know that when Shibai ascended, his body remained on Earth, which was later picked up by Amado, who then used it to create his cyborgs. This tells us that the unique powers of Shibai was still in his body apart from his DNA. If this wasn't the case, Amado would have easily replicated all the abilities he had given to his cyborgs, just like Hashirama cells, for example. But in this case, each cyborg is unique, and this is possible because these techniques are shinjutsu. Shinobis cannot effectively copy shinjutsu. They are only limited to ninjutsu and ninshu. Some powers can't be replicated by ninja technology or genetic manipulations. So the source of the powers of these Amado cyborgs were actually left behind and not just the DNA. This brings us back to what we've mentioned in the beginning of Shibai leaving behind every part of his physical existence if he manifested the Jogan the moment he consumed the final fruit just before ascension. He kept some part of his new form but might have left traces of it in Earth. Now, how did this distinct trait of Shibai reach Boruto of all people many years after Shibai's death? Especially if we recollect that Amado found the remains all in one place at some point in time way before Boruto's birth. The reason is that the Jogan in its essence is entirely different from any physically obtainable power. The core energy of the Jogan exists in a completely different state of being compared to other powers Shibai used to attain godhood. Therefore, it diverges from anything that is genetically belonging to Shibai, and in some way, it separates itself. This method must have in some way found its way to Boruto. The only way a power-based aspect could have found its way to manifest to humans is through inheritance and thus through chakra via Kaguya, who is the progenitor of all forms of chakra in planet Earth. Although it has been proven that everything on Earth possesses a form of energy called natural energy, which is essential to life on Earth. Humans before the advent of Kaguya lacked the ability to control or manipulate chakra. In short, they didn't even have chakra to start with, they only lived with the aid of natural energy. The planet acts as a battery which provides all living beings life to exist with. Humans have to drink water, and with this water they charge their bodies, and the same applies to foods. But with the discovery of chakra, an additional source of energy was found which can be used in a very specific manner. Chakra is most likely something that the Otsutsukis turn the energy of planets into which they can be used as a source of energy for their powers. Hagoromo, despite not being a full Otsutsuki, found a way to distribute chakra with other humans to connect humanity together to achieve peace, in which he calls ninshu. It was later weaponized by Indra, becoming ninjutsu, which then led to the shinobi era, which is what Kawaki wants to destroy. This is an attempt to control the shinjutsu, which was received from the chakra fruits, which was initially intended for the Otsutsukis. Chakra is a way to access specific fragments and aspects derived from shinjutsu. But not every Otsutsuki can use shinjutsu, and because ninjutsu is a replica of shinjutsu, the range of different ninjutsu that humans can invent or discover is limited to the shinjutsu elements that they have genetically inherited from Kaguya. This is why, for example, the Sharingan is limited to the Uchiha clan. Anyone else don't have access to it except if they are gifted or it's stolen. Kaguya's children are the ones that laid the foundation of the two main branches that spread the chakra among humanity. This explains the main branches like the Senju, Uchiha, Uzumaki, and Hyuga, and so on. These clans possess unique abilities which are only accessible to their members. This doesn't explain how people were able to use standard powers, however, like the Rasengan, by manipulating the chakra which they received from Hagoromo through ninshu. So we have two different shinjutsu genetic fragments. One is inherited through Kaguya's bloodline genetically, while the other is inherited through chakra itself, which is also originated from Kaguya. I believe the first is different from the other because Kaguya consumed the chakra fruit that contained Shibai's essence. We are now reaching the point of our theory. Thinking back to when Kaguya says that all she wanted to do was to take back her powers from her children. But it doesn't really work this way because her children would still have her DNA and they would need to eat their own chakra fruits to access the powers that they genetically received from their mother. Now, because Shibai's remains were found on Earth, this means only one thing, and that is Shibai must have consumed his last chakra fruit on Earth, and since we know that to grow a chakra fruit, two Otsutsukis are needed, one would be sacrificed to the tree while the other would be the one to eat the fruit that blossoms after thousands of years. And since there are only two missing Otsutsukis, this means that Shibai was the one who sacrificed the other Otsutsuki. So this is how Shibai remains got to be on planet Earth. What are your opinions on this theory? Do let us know in the comment section below, and thank you for watching.